In this year of 2024, I have found myself wanting to save even more money than ever before due to the economy, inflation, and just life. We all want to save money no matter what our financial circumstances are, and there are some habits that you need to stop doing because they're making you broke. And sometimes these habits, you don't even realize you're doing them. So I want to call out 7 habits that you need to stop doing because these are making you broke. The first one that I want to talk about is buy now and pay later services. Services such as Afterpay, Klarna, those guys. I understand that these services can be very convenient, but this can lead to accumulation of debt because you're essentially making purchases that you cannot afford right now. You will fall into the trap of being tempted to buy things that you can't afford necessarily at this moment. 9 times out of 10 will fall into the cycle of being in debt and or making high interest payment on those things. I'm not saying that if you are one of those people that do use these services that you should just completely stop, but if you're not managing them carefully, it can lead you into big problems, which ultimately leads to you being broke. Personally, I've never used these buy now, pay later services, but I do have a friend who literally lives off on them. If you guys saw one of my previous videos where I went on a trip, I talked a little bit about that, but my friend that was supposed to go with me for that trip basically wasn't able to make it due to financial reasons. And she was so close to putting the flight and the trip and everything on Klarna and Afterpay. Ultimately, she came to the realization that doing this was going to be such a bad idea because she could not afford this trip. So she stayed behind, and I'm glad she did, because you really don't want to get comfortable using services like these for every single purchase. So please be careful if you use buy now, pay later services. If you're not careful with them, this can turn into a really serious issue. Ignoring your bank account. I see all the time on TikTok and social media about jokes and memes about people being afraid to check their bank account because they just went on a trip or they went to Target and they just are scared to see how much money they have left in their account after these big purchases. And it seems like a lot of people can relate to this. There is a fear of checking your bank account because obviously you don't want to see something bad in that, but it's so important to be aware of your spending habits, any fees that are probably incurring on your bank account, and just your overall financial health. I've read and heard horror stories of people not checking their bank accounts at all, and they've seen things like overdraft, missed payments, extra added fees, high interests, and just being disconnected from financial reality is not a good thing. So if you're one of those people that are scared to check your bank account, trust me, it's a lot scarier to not check your bank account and see all these things going on that you're missing out. The next one is impulse spending. Impulse spending is so common among everyone. I am guilty of it myself, but I'm definitely much more mindful these days when it comes to impulse shopping. But if you're one of those people that impulse shops, you essentially are having destructive money habits. If you're watching this video and you're one of those people that are like, maybe lately I've been impulse spending a little bit too much, I gotta cut back. My tip is to do a no spend week, weekend, maybe a month. You know yourself, so figure out which one's going to work best for you. If you make frequently unplanned purchases, this can totally derail your financial health. It's so easy to impulse spend nowadays, whether you're in person, at the store, online with things like buy now, pay later, or just one-click purchases. There can be some serious long-term consequences if you're doing this all the time. The next habit that's keeping you broke is not having a budget. Not having a budget means that you're not in control and you're not intentional with where your money is going. Essentially, your money is controlling you when it should be the other way around. You should be in control of your money. Budgets are so great to help you just stay on track and be aware of your financial decisions. Not having a budget and taking a look at your expenses is also scary because you get to actually see where exactly your money is going into all these different categories. But if you're more aware of them, you can be like, okay, well, I spent way too much money this month on coffee, gotta dial it back a little bit and figure out other ways to get your caffeine in, like making it at home, for example. But if you don't take a look at your budget, or let alone have one, there's no way that you can say you're in control of your finances. The next habit is blowing your monthly budget. So let's say that you do have a budget, but every single month you go and look at it and you're like, why is it out of control? It's normal for budgets to go wrong and not be perfect every single time, but if it's something that happens regularly and every single month, then it's time to rethink a little bit about your budget and make adjustments when necessary. When you start the new month, figure your plans, what you're doing for the month, and plan accordingly and make adjustments where necessary. And the last habit is being too restrictive with your budget. Life is all about balance, and this is especially true when it comes to your finances. We all have jobs, we all work super hard for our money, and it's okay to treat yourself every once in a while. Don't restrict too much, because if you restrict too much, then you might just go on a spiral and have a month where you have spent way too much money at stores and go way over your budget. Just remember, life is all about balance, so is your money. You deserve to have fun and nice things every once in a while too, but make sure you factor that into your budget as well to help you out. I just thought of another one because I didn't really touch on this, but neglecting to save on emergencies. Life can be lifing sometimes, and not having enough money saved for unplanned emergencies can often lead to lots of trouble as well. If you don't have an emergency fund and you run into an emergency, chances are you might be putting everything on a credit card or taking out a loan, which could turn into a whole thing if you don't have enough money to pay for those unplanned events. Addressing these habits can significantly improve your financial health. So if you find yourself in a situation right now where you're like, I feel like I'm broke, I can't save enough, I don't have enough money for groceries and just life, try adjusting your habits. Maybe there were one or two or more things on this list that you kind of resonated with, so you want to definitely make those changes in order to stop being broke. Thank you so much for watching. As always, leave a thumbs up, comment down below what bad money habits you used to have or currently have. Share them down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.